How are you all? Hope all of you are fine at home. So today we are going to start a series of videos for class 9 students also. So let us start the video with chemistry chapter 1, that is matter in our surroundings. In this video we are going to deal with what is matter, physical nature of matter, states of matter, change of states of matter, temperature conversions, and lots of experiments and activities which you can do it yourself at home. So don't miss the video, watch till the end. As we look around us, we see a different variety of objects, isn't it? Is this variety of objects are same or different in properties? Obviously, we know the answer. They are different in properties. For example, if you take powdered sugar and chalk powder, they both same in texture, but we know that their properties are different, isn't it? Do you ever thought that all the things around us are alike in one way? The scientists have given the name for that property is matter. So we can define matter as matter is anything which occupies space, and has mass. Yes, what is the definition of matter? Matter is anything which occupies space and has mass. Is it clear? Now we are moving to the first topic is over. The second topic, physical nature of matter. What is the physical nature of matter? To study this physical nature of matter, we have to perform an activity. Okay? In this activity, we will take a glass tumbler and sugar. Okay? I'm not going to explain it on the board. You can do it at home. Let's see how to perform this activity at home. In this experiment, we are going to study about the nature of matter. Things required for this experiment are water and some sugar crystals. First of all, take some water in a glass tumbler. Add a spoonful of sugar into it. Now stir it well so that the whole sugar is dissolved in that water. After some time, you can see that the sugar, which is a collection of large number of particles, completely dissolved in water. So what had happened? Its particles get into the spaces between particles of water. Both the sugar crystals and water are made up of particles. The particles of sugar leave the crystal and mix with the particles of water. So, what is the inference of this activity? The inference of this activity is that the matter is particulate in nature. Matter is particulate in nature. That means what? All the things are made up of matter. This table, books, chairs, desk, pen, pencil, everything, human beings, everything is made up of matter. So that is the physical nature of matter. And matter is made up of particles. Does the matter have any characteristics? Yes. Matter is having 3 characteristics. Let us see what are the characteristics of matter. What are its characteristics? It has 3 characteristics. First characteristic is matter particles of matter has large space between them. They have large space between them. We know that in that above activity which we had performed, in that activity when you add sugar crystals into water and stir it well, after stirring or after some time you cannot see the sugar crystals in water. What had happened? The sugar crystals occupied the space between the water molecules. So that activity proves that particles of matter has large space between them. Or another example, we can say that while preparing coffee, while preparing lemonade, that is our nimbu pani. So all these cases where the particles of one medium goes to another medium. Okay. Second characteristic is that particles of matter are continuously moving. Yes, continuously moving. Okay, I can tell an example of it. Suppose if you light an incense stick, agarbatti, in one of the corner of the room, and after some time you can see that the whole room will get the pleasant smell of agarbatti. Or if you have a room freshener and if you applied the room freshener in one of the corner, so after some time the pleasant smell of that room freshener or the fragrance will completely spread over the air in the room, isn't it? It happens because of the second characteristic of matter, that is particles of matter are continuously moving. Now the third characteristic of matter is that particles of matter are attract each other. Particles of matter are attract each other. Yes, these particles of matter are having a force of attraction between them. So particles of matter are having an force of attraction there between each other, and this force of attraction bind them together. So these three are the characteristics of matter. First one, particles of matter has large space between them. Second, particles of matter are continuously moving. And third, particles of matter are attract each other. Okay. Now our next topic. So second topic is over. Now our third topic is that states of matter. Do you know how many states of matter are there? Yes, we have 3 states of matter. Okay, in our concept we have to study 3 states of matter. What are those 3 states of matter? We have 3 states of matter. First one is called solid state. Second is called, please repeat after me, solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. Yes, there are 3 states of matter: solid, liquid and gaseous. So in our next topic we are going to study in detail about these 3 states of matter. What are the characteristics of solid state, liquid state and gaseous state? So if you learn the characteristics, it will be easy if you are getting questions like what are the characteristics of solid, liquid, gas, or write the differences between the properties of solids, liquids and gas. So if you study one, you can write answer for these questions. Okay, let's go to the characteristics. We are going to study about the characteristics of matter. We have already learned that matter can be divided into 3 states. States of matter. These are the states of matter. Yes. Matter can be divided into 3 states: solid, liquid and gas. So how do we differentiate these 3 states? We can differentiate them with their properties itself. Let's see what are the properties of solids. You can see 7 properties of solids. What are they? they have definite shape, fixed volume, higher densities, strong intermolecular forces, compressibility, rigidity, and diffusion. We will see this in detail. First of all, definite shape. We know that solids are having definite shape. For example, what is this? This is a pen. We cannot call this as a pencil because it's a common sense, and we know that if it looks like the shape of a pen, we call it as pen only. So that is the first one. Solids are having definite shape. Second, they have fixed volume. Yes, solids are having a fixed volume. Third, they have higher densities. There we know what is meant by density. Density means mass upon volume. So if they have definite shape and if they have definite fixed volume, then their densities will be higher. Okay. Now fourth one is they have strong intermolecular force. This pen, for example, this pen, if I try to break this for some extent, I cannot be able to break it. But if I will apply more force on it, it may break. If I apply more force on it, it may break into pieces. So why it can withstand some force? Because the particles inside this matter, inside this pen, have strong intermolecular force. Because of that strong intermolecular force, it is rigid, or we can say that it is having strong intermolecular force. We call it as a solid. Now next one is what? Compressibility. Can you able to compress a stone? No, we cannot. What is the reason? Because the particles in solids are closely packed. They have a strong intermolecular force of attraction between them. They have less space between them. So we cannot compress solids. But as I said in the fourth characteristic, if you apply more force so that a solid cannot withstand, it may break into pieces. Okay. Then sixth one is rigidity. Yes, because of these two, strong intermolecular force and having less compressibility, it will have a rigidity, higher rigidity. Seventh one is diffusion. What is meant by diffusion? This is a new thing. In the characteristic, we have seen that the second characteristic was intermixing of particles of matter. What is that intermixing? Yes, that intermixing is called a diffusion. Okay, so intermixing of particles of matter with another medium is called a diffusion. So we have 7 properties or 7 characteristics of solid state is there. Definite shape, fixed volume, higher densities, strong intermolecular forces, compressibility, rigidity, and diffusion. Okay, so with the help of this, we will compare solid, liquid, and gases. Clear? Now coming to the liquid state. Now come to the liquid state. The first one is definite shape. Do the liquids have definite shape? For example, if we take water in a glass and pour that water into a mug, what is the shape? Is there any difference in the shape of water in mug as well as water in the glass? Yes, there is. When the water was in glass, it took the shape of glass. When it is transferred to mug, it will take the shape of mug only. So dear friends, in the case of liquids, liquids do not have definite shape. What about the volume? Yes, they have a fixed volume. Liquids have fixed volume. First one, what was the first one? Do not have definite shape. They don't have definite shape. Second one, they have a fixed volume. If you take 1 liter of water in a bucket and transfer it to a another vessel, then it will have a 1 liter only. It will not neither increase nor decrease. So they have a fixed volume. Third one is, what about the density of what? Liquids. Liquids have lower density as compared to solids. Do you know what is the reason? Because their particles are not closely packed. The particles, the space between the particles in the case of liquid are having more freedom than solids. So in liquids they have lower density than solids. Lower density than solids. But they have an additional characteristic. What is that additional characteristic? Yes, fluidity. What is meant by fluidity? The ability to flow. That's why liquids are also having another name. They are called as fluids. They have the ability to flow from higher concentration to lower concentration. So it's an added characteristic for liquids. That is, the third characteristic property of liquids are lower density than solids. Yes, liquids generally have lower density than solids because in liquid state particles are not that much closely packed than in the case of a solid. Okay, now while talking about the fourth one, that is strong intermolecular forces. Intermolecular force of attraction in liquids is less as compared to solids. What is the reason? Because in liquids the particles are not arranged so close to each other. They are having more space as compared to solids. So they have less intermolecular force of attraction between the particles of liquid state. Now, because of less intermolecular force of attraction, particles are having more freedom to move here and there. So we can compress liquids easily as compared to a solid. Okay, we can compress liquids easily than a solid. So in the case of compressibility, more compressible, we can write more compressible than solids. As compared to solid, liquids are compressible. And sixth property is about the rigidity. Since there are more space between the particles in liquid state, it is sure that they are not that much rigid, because less force of attraction, more freedom to move, so the rigidity will be very less rigidity. And the last one is diffusion. Seventh property is called diffusion. In the case of diffusion, we have already learned that diffusion means intermixing of particles. So in fluids, liquids are showing the property of diffusion. That is, they will intermix with one another or in another medium and will show the property of diffusion. Okay, so these are the 7 properties of liquid state. First one, do not have definite shape, but they have a fixed volume. Third one, lower density than solids. Fourth one, they have less intermolecular force of attraction than solids. Fifth one, they are more compressible than solids. Sixth one, they have less rigidity, and seventh one is they are having the property of diffusion. They show the property of diffusion. Yes. Now, moving to the gaseous state. In the case of gas, what would be the first and second property? We have seen that in the case of solids, the first and second is definite shape, fixed volume. Here, do not have definite shape but have a fixed volume. In the case of gases, gases have neither definite shape nor definite volume. Okay, the gases have neither definite shape nor definite volume. So we can write they have neither definite shape nor fixed volume. They have neither definite shape nor fixed volume. Third, what about the density of gases? What about the density of gases? Gases have very less density than liquids as well as solids. They have a very less density as compared to the liquids and solids. What about their intermolecular force of attraction? We know that in the case of gases, the particles have more freedom to move here and there. They can move in any direction, so that they have very small, or we can say that negligible intermolecular force of attraction between the particles of gaseous state. Negligible force of attraction. There are negligible force of attraction between the particles of matter. Fifth one, can gases compressible? Yes. The example is that compressed natural gas. Yes, it compressed natural gas itself is an example for that. We can compress, we can keep gases. So many examples are there, like LPG, cylinder, oxygen cylinders, nitrogen balloons, blowing a balloon with the help of oxygen. So these all are examples of compressibility of gas. So we can say that gases are compressible. They are compressible because they have the ability to flow in any direction. Then about the rigidity, they are not rigid. They are not rigid because there are very large space between the particles of gaseous state. The last one, diffusion. Do gas diffuse? Yes, gases can diffuse in any way. Gases diffuse in any direction. That's why the example which I said in the while explaining the term diffusion, I told you, if I will spray one room freshener in one of the corner of the room, and that fragrance will spread all over the room within seconds. What is the reason? Because room freshener is a gas, and the particles of that room freshener will intermix with the air present in the room, so that we can enjoy the pleasant fragrance of the room freshener. So that is the seventh property of gases, that is gases are diffuse. Gases can diffuse. Okay, so with this table, it is clear to you that what are the characteristic properties of solids, liquids and gases. You can see here, gases are neither having definite shape nor definite volume. They have less density. They are having negligible force of attraction between the particles, and they are compressible. They are not rigid, and they can diffuse. I hope it is clear to all of you. And to make this characteristic properties of states of matter more clear, we can make a schematic diagram. That schematic diagram shows us very easy way to explain the characteristics of three states of matter. They are, first, if you take solid, and in solids all the particles are closely packed. There is less space and more force of attraction. They have no any space to move in. So they are rigid. They are not compressible. Okay. While coming to liquids, if you take a portion of liquid, they have space between the particles. They have space between the particles. The particles can move here and there, and because of less force of attraction, they are compressible and they have less rigidity. And while coming to the liquid state, while coming to the gaseous state, in gaseous state, the particles of gases are having more freedom to move. They can move in any direction they can move. So they have more compressibility. We can compress the gases, and they have very less rigidity, and they will show the diffusion. So dear students, that's about this video. A second part of the video, which is explaining the other terms of this chapter, will follow soon. So please watch it, and please do subscribe the channel if you like the videos, and share it to your friends. Thank you.